That's right, boys. AHRC back here with another how-to. Today, we're going to be talking about some ball diffs. You know, we got a lot of do's and don'ts to cover here, but I'm going to start off by just doing the do's. You know, make sure I get a nice solid foundation here and teach you guys how to do it right before I kick off any memes. All right, so yeah, just to jump right into it, we basically have the Team Associated Ball Diff kit here. This is what we're working with, just kind of spread out on the table. I organized it a little bit and got it ready to build. Things you'll need is these lubes that they come with. They get the job done. You know, they're pretty solid, but I personally don't use them. I found better luck with smoother diffs with the 1-Up Gold in replace of the black grease and the RM2 grease for the balls on the gear. It just kind of seems to be a little bit smoother, and the diff actually lasts a little bit longer. So that's kind of what I use in my race car. So we're going to go over how to get it all together. All right, first thing here I like to focus on is just getting the out drives ready to go. As you can see, they come in the package. They look a little bit like they have a little bit of stuff on them from when they were machined and packaged probably. I like to just kind of clean that off a little bit, get some WD-40 and just kind of spray it on the microfiber here, and just give it a quick little once over just to kind of clean up off of that all that muck that's on there. Just trying to get the diff to be as smooth as possible once it's built. Make sure it's at optimum race pace performance. This does matter. So first thing I like to do is just I like to feel good about my progress right away. So I just try to get this kind of squared away here. I take the spring and I kind of crunch it a little bit, just so that I kind of feel like this kind of helps the ball diff not really come loose at all once it's new. And then you can kind of put that together and then put it to the side and be done with it. Get the bearing on there. And you go over to this one, and Team Associated actually came out with a new thrust design. And this actually makes life a lot easier for when you're putting the thrust together like this. It used to be a lot harder with the balls and everything, but now that we have the cage kind of thrust, everything just goes on a lot better. So that is super nice. Basically, just get the gold grease and kind of just use your finger to just get it nice and lathered up there and ready for the new thrust here. The old thrust design used to have you really on the edge of your seat trying to get it together here, but this one makes life really easy. You just kind of throw it on there, and it actually works a little bit better as well. It's not just more convenient. So all around, pretty big upgrade from the engineering department over there. So shout out to the boys at Area 51 for this model. Do the same thing with the top of it there. And the top and bottom thrust, the holes are a little bit bigger from this plate to the bottom one, but I don't actually pay attention to that. I just kind of throw it together. I mean, either or could be top or bottom. I don't really think that there is a top or bottom. It just kind of goes together. So yeah, once you get that kind of squared away, you can put that in the outdrive like that. Put the little cap over there to cover it. Push it down with a 1.5. Feels pretty good. Get the bearing in there. All right, and that's going to be it for the gold grease. Next thing you want to do is you're going to get the 1-Up or the 1-Up Pink or the RM2 or just the clear that comes with it could also work for this. You pretty much just want to get a little bit on the outdrive in the groove where the plate is going to be sitting, and you just kind of just get it as evenly spread as you can. Try not to really get it in the middle there. As you can see, just kind of filling up that groove there. Yes, I'm fully aware that just fell apart. Not a big deal, right? I can just put it back in, guys. It's totally fine. Everything's okay. I'm not losing my mind. Everything's okay. All right, so once you get all that kind of together, you can get the rings on. They just kind of push them right on there. And, it fell out again. I'm not even gonna worry about it. It's totally fine. We'll just put it in later. If it wants to just be like that, then that's fine. We'll just get it in later. But yeah, you pretty much just want get a nice little groove over that. It doesn't really matter how sloppy you get because it's gonna be twisting and turning like crazy in there anyways. So get a nice little thin layer over your rings. And then we move on to the actual gear. Get all your balls here ready to drop in. Pretty much what you want to do is there's two sides of this gear. One side, as you can see here, has the little grooves. The side with the grooves is where you want to put the balls in because it's actually bigger. The side with no grooves is tighter, so the balls are actually supposed to not like fall out of there or be put in there. So you want to find the side with the grooves and just get this clear grease and just do the best you can to just fill it up with grease. Fill all the holes up with the grease. Make sure that the balls, once you drop them in there, are not rubbing on anything, just like dry. Want to make sure your balls are nice and lubed. You know how we like to do it. All right, that seems to look pretty good there. So then you just start dropping your balls in. Get them nice and seated. I'll get it. All right. And then, yeah, you can see we got a good amount of grease on there. We just kind of get a nice even spread across all the balls. Nice even spread across both sides. Make sure everything's coated pretty good. And then we are ready to just kind of put it together here. And it should go together pretty smoothly. And just like that, we have ourselves a ball diff that is ready to be broken in for the race car. You don't want to over tighten this, just get it a little snug. You definitely don't want to crush those balls right away, but man, that puppy is feeling smooth. I like my odds with this one, boys. To top it off, before you put the diff in, I like to get a little bit of RC1 gear grease on here. Just kind of helps it all seat really nicely together with the other gears in the transmission. Just get a little bit on your finger and just get a quick little coat around the gear, just like this. This stuff works really good. Never really had a problem with it. Always keeps my transmissions running nice and smooth. All right, guys, I showed you how the pros like to build their diffs, nice and dialed, get them ready for race pace. I'm going to show you how not to build a diff here. So I've seen a lot of these mistakes, they happen a lot, common misconceptions with building these ball diffs. So these are some of the things that you want to avoid here. So first off, you get your out drives, you got the bearings popped in them, and what you want to do, you just want to get that thrust together. But, how you gonna lube it? You don't have any grease. So basically what you take is just some Adam Drake afterrun oil, the Drake Racing, and you just really just get it all nice and in there. Make sure everything is really good and just well built. Make sure you just jam it on top of that one as well. So just, yeah, you know, that this is a nice well built thrust. You know, it looks really lubed. Everything looks solid, and you just jam it in here. But honestly, not before you spray it down with some zip kicker in there. You know, you just want to make sure that the diff is just completely dry of anything that, you know, might be in there. So, man, that feels just absolutely lubricated and ready to go win the World Championships. And, yeah, you know, when you put your rings in, what you want to do is, you know, mother's shine. You know, it is a little bit beaten down from the cap from beating it against the wall when you get mad. But, you know, that's a separate story. So basically, you know, you just get a nice amount of just mother's shine and just really get it good. Like, I want you to just really get it good in there. And this will allow your rings to not only be just freeing up them balls, but to also be looking good, you know? So yeah, once you get the mother's shine in there, you really just want to hammer that together. And I actually can't believe that just fell out. It normally stays really lubricated. So, yeah, you know, pretty much just hammer all this together. You know, make sure your mother's shine is nice and spread out amongst the diff. And then you get your balls, right? You got to clean up your balls, right? So what do? You get motor spray and just... Man, that looks good. So basically what you want to do is get this thing, I mean, you know... Make sure you get it nice and cleaned up with some simple green. And, yeah, you know, make sure that these balls do get seated in here. You know, remember what I said, look for the grooves. So just seed those balls in here, you know. They can get a little slippery. These little things can be silly. So, yeah, once you, make sure that you just get them all in place. These slippery little things, you know, they will run away from you. Dang it, dude. I just can't quite get them loaded in this thing. You know, it's all right. It can be tough. And seems how these four just don't want to go in. You know, it's fine. You don't need all the balls. As long as we have these ones, it should be fine. And the way to really just secure that these balls are going to stay in this diff, because you don't want them falling out now, is to just remove your tip, because you want more than just what the tip can offer. And really just kind of just get that CA glue seated in there. And it can stick to the rag, so watch out for that. And yeah, you know, once you get all that together, just, yeah, you know, you got your CA glue holding it all together. You know, you got your mother's shine, keeping everything looking good, obviously. So yeah, and just to make sure the thrust doesn't fall apart, you know, you might want to add some more CA glue to that. Just keep everything together. And yep, all looks good. Just a little bit more CA glue to make sure all this stuff stays threaded on. Yeah, that's typically what I like to do with my diffs. And once you kind of get it threaded in there, you realize that, you know, you don't need a hand wrench when you have a drill. And the best thing about this drill is that we have this thing to hold the other one. Make sure your clutch is on 13. And I think the screw might have just broke, but that just means that it's definitely not going anywhere. And oh yeah, this diff feels incredible. Like, it is... I'm going to save this diff, set it aside for my World's car for hobby action. And yeah, we don't really need this. This doesn't do anything. Yeah, that's how you don't build a diff. And you know, common misconception. I've seen it way too many times. Proline tire glue is not gear grease. You know how many times I walk into the pits at a local level event, and I just see people just gear greasing up their diffs with tire glue. Guys, you can't put this in your car. Stop. Just use RC1 gear grease. Come on. Ridiculous.